Howdy, Internet folks. How are we doing today? I know it's a different position altogether. Usually I'm sitting at my desk. You notice what I have in front of me, which means I'm sitting in front of the television with my dog. There still needs me to be with her. I am watching what's happening these days. I think I'm going to switch positions. Certainly, of course, I can get this working. Well, I suppose that's a little bit too laid back for me in the first place. Sitting like back there, just trying to get a recording going on, it's not exactly the easiest damn thing in the world. I'm in front of the television because I'm trying to keep track of what's going on in the news these days. And as much as crazy as the world's going these days, and we're still waiting for the election results happening, I still needed something to veg out on. Even the bad news seems to be something to veg out on these days. Show you something. I have a shiver puss right next to me. Come here, mamas. Say hi to him. Yeah, not me. Yep. Them. Say hi to him. Good girl. My immediate concerns are taking care of her. My companion dog, my friend. And the only thing that matters most. I've had that going since last year. What's been happening these days is I've been needing something like this to keep me going, mentally and physically. I need something to deal with. Some of the videos I've shown were like, how things are going these days. Yeah, I'm getting up. Well, that'll be easier for me anyway. I prefer to high back anyway. Yeah, I changed my background a little bit there. Only because I needed to. I'm still trying to keep track of what's going on with the news, both local and heavy. Sorry about the camera angles at this point. But this is the way I can try coping and dealing with things. Especially in dealing with people's reactions of what's going on. Including when we're still hearing about disruptions happening and people still protesting about what's happening. And not to mention the current occupant of the White House still spewing his stuff and pissing people off left and right. Not to mention the press. We've been reporting him, including his used to be favorite channel. I have a hard time calling, I dare use the word, Donald J. Trump as president of the United States, even though they technically, we never know if it was a rigged election or not. But he claimed he was in a rigged election, and he also claimed he was also afraid of another rigged election. The Democrats are always the enemy. This is the same psychotic who kept saying that he was supporting both parties. I mean, it was reported around the news left and right. I'm having a hard time trying to get hold of this particular situation, and I don't know whether or not this guy's actually going to run for office next year if he actually loses. I'm saying if he actually loses. I'm not holding on any hope at this point over here that he's actually going to win, but I'm not actually holding on any hope that he's going to lose either. It's a roller coaster because every state has its own ballots, and we've got about 5 of them doing counting left to right, and sometimes they're showing a little bit more better lead in a few of them, and then maybe not in the others. It's a tight race, and it's a tight rope. And the emotions are running high at this point. They're running high on everybody these days. I go search internet, go through Facebook a lot. Some of the groups I'm associated with still think that it's still a rigged election. It should have just been one party. And I kept thinking to myself, that's not democracy. That's not what democracy was supposed to be in the first place. That's not how our system grew up to be and formulated. And tried to educate people about this situation. It goes in one ear out the other ear. So I'm having a hard time trying to fathom the people's ignorance of the whole damn system in the first place. They want to be part of something. They should know the system, at least, what they're voting for, why they're voting for it, and why the system is the way it is. The only problem is people have an issue with it. They want it their way, and unfortunately, this is not Burger King, okay? You can't have democracy your way. We have a system. We have systems of checks and balances at this point over here. You want to vote for something, and just make sure that you're registered to vote, because otherwise, you're not going to be able to vote. They want to make sure that you're either a party or non-party, but they need to know if you're going to be registered or not. And this is not a national thing. This is a state thing. And this had to be a state thing because this is how it was created in the Constitution. I mean, originally the Articles of Confederation, they may have had it in there, and I'd never even known. I mean, I've heard about the Articles of Confederation, but I never read the damn Article of Confederation because I couldn't even find the damn thing online, or not even in our classes. But we were told about them in our classes, left and right, and we were presented all the time of the U.S. Constitution, which every student had to learn when they're going through school. I'm watching tapes of what happened last night in different towns while the news is showing this. Protests left and right. Protest of pro. Protest of con. Protest of having the votes counted. Protest of having the votes stopped. And yes, I had to do some videos on that one. I had to say something about it. About the process, about the system, about how it's working, and how people are pissed off about it because it is working. They just don't want to see it dragging its ass. Unfortunately, this is democracy. It's supposed to drag its ass. What are you expecting? An autocratic regime at this point over here? You want an authoritative one? One party, one ruler, one ring rules them all? And you're going to be comfortable with that? Shit. It's called fascism, assholes. Look the terminology up. In fact, look up World War II. We had it going on. We had an emperor of Japan. We had a so-called emperor of sorts in Italy. And then we also had a nut job out in Germany. Wanted pure Aryan race. Mussolini wanted everybody to worship him. And then Japan, you all had to do was just worship the guy as well. I mean, they all wanted ego stroked. And ego's damn near destroyed the whole damn planet. Regimes do that. Regimes in different countries do that. They feel the power. People consented power to the government without any checks or balances, basically. Without any troubleshooting. That's why we have a system going on. That's theoretically why we have a system running like it. We should be having checks and balances, but we don't. Because people don't want the checks and balances. They want an authoritative regime at this point over here. They think it's still democracy. They worry about socialism and communism all the damn time. They don't understand the damn concept at all. I keep telling them, look at the damn dictionary for the damn thing. You want to start out from the source of it, look at Karl Marx. The asshole back in the late 1800s who created the Communist Party in the first place. Who created the idea of workers unite against fascism. We all share equally, except for those who actually oversee everybody. And it's no longer communism, it's just something else. China, Russia, got their own versions of it. Socialism. Russia changed from their own empire into a broken down state, and they're still trying to recreate their own empire. But they like capitalism because the elite likes the money and puts people down left and right. And they try to do democracy very poorly. It is a form of democracy, according to one particular political science professor I had over at my college. We had arguments over this one. How do you call an autocratic leader who keeps eliminating his positions and keeps getting himself voted in office? That's democracy? Come on. He said he agreed, but it's still democracy. I said, no, it's not. No, it's not. Not in any book, Professor. But you're supposed to be the best. So we tend to agree to disagree on this situation. That was a few years ago. And I missed those kind of arguments. But people want that these days. Apparently the populist vote is more, well, they like a candidate who's just got the gravitas. The problem is he doesn't have it in him. He doesn't have the intelligence, smarts, not to be able to lean on anybody else. He just leans on his own self and his own damn mindset. The one thing I noticed about our particular government here is they don't check very much the mental state of the guy running, or the person running actually at this point. They don't know whether or not the person is actually sane or not sane. Of course, we do have our legal documentations, our rules, regulations of what should be and what should not be. And if we can't match up to those damn things, we have a problem, don't we? Especially when it comes down for mental health these days. People have their own varied levels of mental health illness. I know. I have those kind of days myself. Major depression, and it doesn't work out for me. I would not be a very good president. I wouldn't. Not with my status in the first place. I'd be a major liability to this country if I actually ran. So I don't run. I don't run for any office because I know I'm a liability of any sort. I'm a liability to my own self. Other people sound like they should be running, but are they well qualified for it? And do you have the gravitas? Do they have the persona that's likable enough to the population of the country? And does he have enough smarts to realize that there are things beyond him that he doesn't know and that he needs to take care of? The unfortunate part, everybody else keeps thinking that he's a stable genius until he shows that maybe he's very unstable, and then they've got stuck with him. You get a group of sycophants and saying, well, this guy sounds like he's got it. Well, we got to keep giving him the benefit of the doubt. Meanwhile, all hell breaks loose. Yeah, I'm currently referring to the current numbnuts in the office right now. I don't have any respect for him. I don't have any respect for this guy, this current occupant in the White House. I have respect for the office. I have respect for the position, but not for the son of a bitch in the office. He keeps lying and cheating and forcing his way into things that are basically destabilizing everything. But he claims that he claims too much of different things that he's not knowledgeable or aware of, or allowing anybody else to advise him on how to take care of things and matters. I'm not very good at that either. I observed all my life. I was an isolator all my life. I have a lot of hell of a lot of issues in my life, both mental health and physical. There is no way in hell I'd be able to be qualified for President of the United States, or even Senate, or even House of Representatives, or even local districts. I am just observer of a lot of things happening in life, and I talk about them. And what I can't understand these days not the differences of people these days. It's how they're trying to handle and cope with what they've got right now. I mean, it's very damn crazy, I tell you. How are we supposed to be handling this, by the way? I mean, quite frankly, how are we supposed to be able to deal with this on a constant basis? How are we supposed to be able to deal with our own life's issues if we can't even deal with the national issues at this point over here, or just kind of reverse that a bit? How are we supposed to be dealing with the national issues if we can't even deal with our own personal issues? Kind of flip-flops, doesn't it? And right now, we're on pins and needles because of our situations happening at this point. We really don't understand what the hell is going on these days. While I keep having my head turned towards the news, trying to keep track of what's going on, and no, I don't have the volume up. I'm just watching some things happening these days that I'm not quite sure if we're going to be down into a downhill slide somewhere or not. I don't know. There's a lot of things I claim I don't know because I don't know. I am not a gypsy. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't project into the future at this point over here. Because there's nothing scientifically valued about that one in the first place. The future is always unpredictable because our present is always unpredictable. The past is predictable because it's already happened and we can't change it. Of course, people are going to start throwing quantum physics at me at that point over here and argue the case. Well, if it's so argued, how come we don't have a time machine right now to screw our time up right now? Unless it's already been screwed up and we don't even realize it. I would have a field day with some of the sci-fi writers over that one. My musings concerning about today. My thought patterns, besides getting dulled by watching YouTubes all the time and different things out there that I've seen, and I wish I could revisit them all over again. Old shows, old friends. You get older, you try to look for the set ways, the set patterns. And I think that's also what's driving people crazy these days. Everything is not set in stone. Everything is not as they think it should be. And it's hard enough to us understanding about life and changes right now as it is. What's new, we think is supposed to be new, and what's recycled. Things will pass, we're told. Sometimes they do, sometimes they linger. Issues linger. A lot of issues linger. And this is one of those kind of issues that's going to be lingering for a hell of a long while. Our behavior towards each other has changed drastically and has been mutating over the past God knows how many years. All you have to do is just look at it. Look at the patterns we've got going on right now. It's not mathematical. It's just my brain is processing it that way. It's seeing different patterns of how people are behaving as they're supposed to be behaving, what assurances some people are trying to give others, and it's not working. Some things I can't explain. The only things I'm seeing is just what's happening right now. Some things are coming to pass and other things shouldn't be coming to pass. We are so in for it. People are afraid of something coming down the pipeline that's going to be even worse, even nastier. See, 1 second. And maybe it is. Or maybe we're projecting too much fear into the situation that we have no idea what the hell's going on. And have no clue on how to handle it. I'm not a guru, okay? I've said it before in many videos. I am not a guru. I observe a hell of a lot of things. I make observations at this point over here. And sometimes our less than objective. They're subjective. They're subjective over a lot of things happening these days. My attention span drifts from one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing. That's how my brain works sometimes. Getting older, that's what it works. When you're a hell of a lot younger, you try to be a little bit more focused. You're a little bit more lasered into things. You get older, other things happen to get into your brain. And you focus on this, you focus on that, you focus on this, you focus on that. You focus, 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 focus. You focus on anything and focus on everything. And then you get confused as hell as how come you're so damn focused and confused on this damn thing. Well, you get older, your brain gets scatterbrained. There's a lot of things out there to bring the brain back into focus. A lot of games, a lot of puzzles, a lot of activities. And I'll tell you one thing, watching politics is not one of them. Watching politics is not one of them. We want things the same. We want things consistent. We want normalcy. Normalcy is consistent. The same pattern, time after time after time after time. It's like you have a recipe that's machine made. Everything is measured by machine, and therefore, as a biological machine, you want that conformity. Everything has to conform. Because if it doesn't conform, you cannot comply. You cannot deal with. You cannot cope. You can't adapt. You're plugged in. You're roboticized. You're living in the box. Anything outside that damn box scares the hell out of you. That is a reality check. And that's what we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with kind of reality check right now as it is. And if we're not able to understand and comprehend this little situation over here, there's a lot of things we still don't understand that we still have to face. The major thing is uncertainty, our own fear factor, our own sense of what we can and can't control. Because some of the stuff that we can't control, we fear. If we can control it, then we think we got a handle on it, then we're cocky as hell. I got news for you, even some of the stuff that we get cocky as hell, we can't control. And maybe sometimes the stuff that's so uncontrollable, maybe the necessary thing for us to deal with. I'm not saying we court chaos all the time. We should court chaos all the time. I'm saying that life is unpredictable sometimes. We want prediction, we want safe, we want the box, but then we dream about what's happening outside the box. So we think about another sub-box and another sub-box. And pretty soon our own box is filled with individual boxes. And each individual box, another box, another box, another box. Perspective. So, just as we had this mental health mind game over here, let's make sure that we're going to have a better time in life to figure things out. Because right now, that's all we got right now. Dwindling time, dwindling life, uncertainty at this point over here. Not quite sure what's going to happen on the other end. You live in fear all the constant time. Or do you live in constant excitement at this point over here because you want to see what the hell's going to happen. You want to see what's going to happen next. The only thing I can tell you is stay tuned. Stay tuned.